Howdy, Summers. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I've built anything that I can actually put on the gallery for you guys, and I feel really gross about that. Also, yes, I am still making adjustments to my setup, and the camera looks weird. I had to change my camera situation, and I don't like it. But before I start panicking about things changing, let's talk about this build. So, I built this in Newcrest because I just love having kind of a blank slate. There's nothing already in Newcrest, so there's no expectations of like how builds should look, and there's no style for me to work off of, really. It's just completely free reign, which I really like about Newcrest, and I kind of wish we would be given another world like this, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So, I have labeled this as kind of a fancy family home, which, kind of looking at it now, I don't really think it's that fancy, but you might, depending on what your definition of fancy is. So, this house ends up being a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. And I started off actually by building on a foundation. Like, I put out just a flat square, raised it up, and built my house kind of on top of that, which I don't always do, but I'm trying out some stuff. I don't know. It's been a couple weeks since I've like properly built stuff, I feel. So I'm getting back into the groove of things, especially because my last like experience with any kind of build mode stuff was in Soy. And so I'm kind of having to get back into the flow of Sims building. So there's that. But overall, I think I'm happy with how the interior turned out. The exterior, I think, could be better. You're gonna see I use windows and a door that I have never actually used before in my builds because I just always felt like it was too fancy for the style that I typically build with. And I went ahead and used them today. And I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about that, but it is what it is. It's too late now to change anything. But we have a big sliding door to the front that is attached to what will be our master bedroom. And there's also one to the back, and we're gonna have a kind of, not like a big backyard, a kind of small backyard, but there'll be a pool and like a basketball hoop thing. So there's some activities for your Sims to do in this house. But I cut out a lot of footage of me just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with some stuff, like the fencing situation here. The roofing took me a minute as well, so some of that's cut out. Like, I feel kind of out of the loop with building in The Sims at the moment. I think it's just been too long since I've like properly built anything in this game, and so I want to kind of get back into it. I wasn't playing Sims at all for a little bit because of my parents visiting, so I'm not like actively on the game every day. I know it probably seems like that, but I assure you I'm not. So, especially now that Inzoi is out, I'm planning on doing something with that. You'll see that very soon. And yeah, but we're working on the layout right now. We have 2 bedrooms upstairs, and then the master is downstairs where that giant sliding door at the front is. And then we have 1 bathroom upstairs and 1 downstairs. And yeah. I don't know too much to talk about with this house. Like, I really did try some new stuff. I did almost go for kind of a linoleum-esque floor, or like a tiled floor downstairs, and then I went with this new wood from Businesses and Hobbies. And I really like it. I really do. I think a lot of people are kind of on the same page, though. The flooring that came with this pack, like the wood flooring, is some of the nicest wood flooring we've ever gotten. So it's just so good. And it has no reason to be, but it is. So we're starting out in the living room, and I do something I really don't like doing this, but it just made sense to do it. We have a fireplace that is just like off to the side of the room. So I typically like having fireplaces be kind of like center stage with all of the like seating facing towards it, maybe a TV attached to it or like above it. And this time it's just off to the side because the layout that I had, we have a kind of chimney feature outside, but I wanted the fireplace to be against that wall to make it make sense. And it just happens to be in that spot, and ugh. I just really kind of hate the layout of the living room, but it is what it is. I got these little star wall light things that I can't remember where they're from. I think Lovestruck. But they're so nice, and it's such a random little detail to have back here, but like I don't know. The back of that wall just seemed a little too plain, so I threw stars everywhere, and I don't think it was bad at all, honestly. I did actually want to use those lights a little more throughout the house, and then it didn't end up happening. So it really is just kind of random, and I apologize for that. So we have our kitchen over here, and this is why I don't really think it should be labeled as a fancy house, because this kitchen is so small. Like my idea of a fancy house would be a huge kitchen with maybe like double ovens or something. But no, we have this little thing. And it is what it is. I didn't even change the color of the cabinets, I realized. Like I don't know what I was thinking, but I just didn't do it. So I don't know if I forgot or if I just liked kind of the color we were going with already. But you'll see for the downstairs at least, in like the main area, I use a lot of neutral colors. So I don't know what it is, but that's just how it is. So I didn't put any like railings on these stairs, but I didn't think it was really necessary, if I'm being honest. Plus it cut into the wall a little weird, and I'm still not over that, so there's no railing. I almost thought about using the new stairs from Business and Hobbies, those like floating ones, because of the lack of railing. But yeah, it's whatever. So I did make sure all of the alarm stuff was in here. We have the smoke detector, we have the burglar alarm, which I think so far doing pretty good at remembering to put in. And then we also have the thermostat. There we go. I always struggle on that word. I don't know why. But yeah, so I do a little bit of back and forth throughout the video. Well, I don't know that I actually do back and forth, but we will return to the outside sometime in this video. I'm not completely done yet. So, one bathroom in this house has a tub, which I typically hate putting bathtubs in my builds because I just hate bathtubs in general. I am not a bath person, IRL. I am very much full on shower. I can't stand the idea of a bath. Like my future sister-in-law for Christmas gifted me like a bunch of like healthcare kind of stuff, including some bath bombs, which I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna use these just because I don't like taking baths. So I have them. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with them. So moving on to our master bedroom, I could not use this wallpaper from Lovestruck. It is just so gorgeous. I love this wallpaper. And I don't always like to use it on the entire room. Like I typically use it as kind of an accent wall thing. This time I just used it on the whole room. And honestly, I think it's fine as long as we keep everything else kind of neutral. And at this point, we are focusing heavily on kind of the black color because I don't know, something about the color black just screams fancy to me. So it's all like black and white, just very neutral, kind of modern stuff. That's what I think is fancy. I don't know. I don't know what my thought process for here was. Just I wanted this to look nice, and I like the color black. And everything in this game comes in a black swatch, basically, except for like some doors and windows and some of the packs. Like Strangerville doesn't have a black swatch on like any of the windows or doors, which frustrates me to no end because I love the Strangerville windows, but there's no black swatch. And I'm like, these are my favorite windows, and I can't use them at all if I want to do this because there's just no matching swatch. Ugh, it's whatever. So we are on our landing zone of the upstairs, basically. And this doubles as kind of our office space. As it does with a lot of my builds, I don't typically give them like proper office rooms or anything. So I don't know. I don't know, really. Like I'm so in the habit of just like sticking a desk and a computer in the hallway. Which you'd think I'd be better about like building proper offices given that I like record in my own office. Like I am actively doing stuff in here. Like this is my office, and I never build offices in any of my things. So, I don't know. I'm going to move on from this conversation. But yeah, so we have the two computers, we have a chess table and also an easel up here because I just can't forget about that. And I am really in the habit now of any time I put down an easel, I have to put down this like newspaper rug thing under it because it just makes too much sense to not. And I find myself at this point, like, if I have the easel, I just automatically go for that newspaper. I don't even think about it. So I think that's just a thing now. If there's an easel in my build, you can expect there to be a thing of newspaper under it with like the little paint splatter swatch thing from the art studio kit. Like, it just fits so well. It's perfect. But anyway. We're on our first kind of kids room, and honestly, this is more of a teens room to me. We have the guitar, some records. I imagine this person is probably a music lover in some way, but yeah, these bedrooms in general are pretty small, I think. And actually, the other kids' bedroom up here has two beds, so while this is technically a three-bedroom, it is also technically like a four-bedroom because there are four beds in this. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish we could do kind of like a I don't know, half bedroom situation. Like on the gallery where you set what like the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. I wish you could put half on stuff because let's be real. Most bathrooms, at least in like downstairs of houses, are only half bathrooms. Like it's so not yeah. So I have a very small quarrel with that, but yeah. So I think we're almost done with the inside, honestly. And I did something a little weird, which was putting this like giant mirror panel in one of the kids' rooms just on the wall. I don't know. I wanted to add a mirror, and I guess I didn't feel like there was any room for like a small one, which there totally was behind the door. But maybe I just needed something extra on that wall too. Who knows why I did what I did? It's in the moment. Every decision, I'm like, yeah. But yeah, we should be moving on now to the outside. So I came back and on this entire like chimney section that I've got going on here, I just put it with like, I don't know, wall ivy or something? What is that called? Wisteria type stuff? Like, I just filled it with that kind of stuff because it's a blank space, and given that there is like a completely different wall texture right next to it, I know there's some separation with the columns, but I just couldn't stand it, so I was like, you know what, I need to cover this up. Wisteria. That is my thing. And then for the backyard here, we have our pool with two floaties. I'm getting some lights around. This is probably like the most outdoor lights that I've ever put on a build because I just keep forgetting most of the time. So, yeah. But we get the little basketball hoop thing out here. And then that should be basically it for like our furniture stuff. That we have planters galore. We have two at the front and then like three in the back or so. And now we just work on landscaping and pathing. Overall, I do like this build. I think it came out really nice. I got to use a bunch of stuff I don't typically use. So that was fun. I'm probably never going to do that again. But yeah, I think I'm going to hop into the game and show you the build. All right, so here is the finished build. And I think it came out pretty nice. So we have a small path just connected to the sidewalk here. Mailbox is over here. So I've gone back to my landscaping technique of just these kind of hedges outlining the house. But like I said, I'm using some new windows and doors that I don't typically use. And I want to say these are from like Get Together or something, but I'm probably wrong. We have a couple of planters just out the front here. And then we have our little patio section out here for the master bedroom, which will check out momentarily. But coming inside, we have the dining room and kitchen here. Very, very nice. We have a little bookshelf just to greet us at the front here. And then over this way is our living room. Again, we have the fireplace just off to the side here. And then, you know what, if we go ahead and just come back this way, we can check out the backyard. So we have our grill and a trash can, little bench here, and then we have a few kind of planters down that way. There's a little walking point here. But we have a picnic table, our pool, and then the basketball hoop. And then coming back this way, we have our bathroom and master bedroom. We'll just go through these doors here. They both have double doors because we're on medium wall height on this first floor. But here's our first kind of bathroom with that tub. And then through here is the master bedroom. And it is so nice in here. Definitely spacious. So not too much going on in here. But then you come through this door and you have the private hot tub and then just a couple of chairs here to sit down once you're out of there. And then we're gonna come up the stairs this way and we have our landing zone. So we have a bookshelf here, which I did not end up putting anything into that bookshelf, I realize. We have a chess table, our little easel, and then there's this painting up here behind the easel that I thought would be really nice to hang because it kind of looks like something that maybe the owner would have painted and just like stuck on the wall. So I thought that would be fitting. We have our kind of office-y section with the double computer setup and all the string lights kind of around it. And then through here we have our teens room, I guess. And it's nothing too special. There we go. It's also glitching a little bit. Through here is our second bathroom. So a little smaller than the one downstairs, but it does have a shower instead of a tub. And then lastly, we have our kids' room with the little dollhouse. We have a teddy bear, and then the double things here. What is coming through? Is that the chimney? That might be the chimney. Is that the chimney? I think it is. I don't know how I didn't notice that before, but whoops. Okay. It's just in that mode, though. It doesn't seem to be an issue. There's a slight shadow, I think, but other than that, that's fine. It shouldn't actually cause any issues. Anyway, that's the build. I hope you guys like it. I've put this build on the gallery for you guys as Fancy Family Home. You can find it under TheSimmingKoalaa with 2 A's at the end. That's my ID. It's always in the description if you guys ever want to download anything from me. I build a lot of stuff. I have a huge catalog of builds here if you want to see any of the stuff that I've done in the past. But yeah, it's here for you. It's almost 96,000 simoleons, so a bit on the pricey side, but nothing too extreme, in my case at least. Let me know what you all think of the build. Like I said, it is available on the gallery for you guys if you do want it, and I really want to get back into the flow of building now that my family has gone back home and I'm kind of back into recording mode. But especially with like the new pack being out, I feel like there is room for kind of a lot of different builds that I could do now. But yeah, I guess stay tuned for future builds. And also keep an eye out for some Inzoi stuff, because now that that game is out, I am planning on doing stuff with that as well. So if you're interested in anything Inzoi, keep an eye on my channel as well. And with that, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and make sure you have notifications on so you don't miss anything. Be sure to follow my socials. Links are below. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.